Hi, I'm Betty Wedman, and I'd like to thank everybody to raising awareness on mental health. If you have any questions, Amber from the Mental Health Foundation is going to be monitoring the chat box or the question and answer section. So first, I'd like to thank Breaking the Silence for organizing this learning event. I have been a member of the CASA Family Advisory Council for 2 years, and we are a diverse group of people with lived experience, and we advocate on breaking the stigma on mental health. Last week, the CASA Family Advisory Council and the University of Calgary released Am I Enough? A Photovoice Project, which depicts some of the CASA members' journey. They also did a mental health pandemic video. I have been able to contribute to Living Hope, a community plan to prevent suicide in Edmonton. From the 11 of Us campaign, there was free education, and this education consisted of trauma-informed care, applied suicide intervention skills training, and mental health first aid and other classes. I had the opportunity to take the trauma-informed care, which I found very beneficial. And one of the things that really stood out for me was not ask the question, what's wrong with you, but to change it to what's happened to you. Many of us have life experiences that have caused us challenges, and I think that was a very important question to ask. Last year, when I raised money for Breaking the Silence, I went door to door in my community. And what I experienced was that 3 houses in a row had lost somebody they loved to suicide. The first house lost a brother, the second one a father, and the third house lost a son. I personally have been advocating for mental health since 2008, when my own son Alex chose to end his life due to bullying and depression. A few weeks after his funeral, our eldest son had asked if he could have a party in honor of Alex. We agreed to this, and it was at this event that students opened up their hearts to me and later came to me with their stories of being bullied and feeling suicidal. There were 45 youth in attendance, and out of this, 3 came forward with their stories of being bullied. 2 of the 3 youth actually attempted suicide. I was a bit overwhelmed with all of this, and I wasn't sure what to do. So that's how I started advocating for mental health and talking in schools on bullying. I'm now going to share a little bit with you about what my son experienced. We became aware of Alex's plight in November of 2006 when he was injured in phys ed class. He received a knee to his groin, which caused a blood clot to his testicle. In addition, the other students rolled up their t-shirt and whipped Alex in the groin. A student teacher was in charge of the class and did not act. I was not notified of this incident. It was mid-afternoon on my way home from a dental appointment that I noticed Alex at the bus stop. I picked him up from there, and as any mother, my first question was, "Are you skipping?" Alex did not want to reveal any information, but he did tell me that something bad had happened in school. It wasn't until we got home that he told me his story. Alex missed over a week and a half of school from this assault and required medical follow-up for the year. We went directly to the school in the morning to meet with the principal and asked him if we could meet with the boys' parents as well. We were declined as he thought this would be a freedom of information issue. At that point, I asked about the school policy, which he was also reluctant to discuss, as there is zero tolerance for bullying. The principal told us boys will be boys. No corrective measures were taken. The school's policy was every person has the right to be treated with dignity and respect. Each person has the right to be free from physical and psychological harm. Interference with the educational process will not be tolerated. Alex later confided that students were continuing to harass him and that he was ready for a change. We asked the school for a transfer, but they were reluctant as they told us he would lose his credits as the semesters were different from the school he wanted to transfer to. A second incident happened in February, and Alex had a paintbrush or pencil jammed into his ear. He turned around and he asked this boy to stop his behavior. Another boy then did the same. Alex reached his breaking point and punched the student. Later that day, the student came up behind him at his locker and started punching Alex repeatedly in his face. The incident was captured on video and posted to YouTube so other students could enjoy Alex's humiliation over and over again. Both Alex and the boy received a suspension. There were many discussions back and forth between the school board and us about Alex's well-being and safety. After the second incident, we took Alex to see a psychologist to deal with his experience of significant bullying that had been an ongoing and long-term problem. The psychologist wrote a letter to the school indicating that Alex was facing a clinical depression, which appeared strongly related to his experiences in school, and that by remaining in his current school would represent a significant risk factor towards his emotional well-being and ability to learn. As parents, we experienced some difficulties in finding an alternative school for Alex to attend and complete his high school education. We wrote a letter asking that our son be transferred to another school, and our request was granted. As a result, Alex was allowed to change schools. However, on registration day, in the lineup of waiting students, who should be standing 3 students behind Alex, but the boy who physically harmed him? From the expression on our son's face, from the photo taken on registration day, he was in fear and full of distress. I couldn't believe what was happening. He was so excited about starting grade 11 at a new school. It was obvious that he was not happy with this. My heart sank. We thought that a fresh start would free Alex from his fears and the challenges he faced. What happened after this, we will never know. Alex did mention to me at one point that there were comments made to him in the hallway by the student. Then on June 5th, 2008, Alex started his car in our closed garage and slipped away from us and all his worldly cares. What I'd like to share with you is that after experiencing this in my life, I had my own challenges to deal with. I had deep grief, which I believe is the same as depression. I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. I had anxiety, and I experienced memory loss. And some of these have resurfaced with COVID-19. what I'd like to do with you now is just to share some information that I have learned through the students who have shared with me. So again, welcome to Raising Awareness on Mental Health. I really believe that when we share, we learn and grow, and it's very important to listen to one another and to support each other. I like to talk about confidentiality because it's really important that we do not reveal the names of others participating to anyone outside of the group. And you do not gossip about one another or in any way violate the trust and integrity of the group. We are here to support and encourage all participants, and as mentioned, to learn and grow. I put this photo of the lady with the mask on because for myself, it really depicted a lot about me in the beginning after my son's passing. And I know that I used to get a lot of phone calls asking me how I was doing and how I'm managing. And of course, my response always was, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm managing. I'm getting through the day." And as you can see from the expression of the lady underneath, that truly wasn't what I was doing. And I want you to know that it's important to be vulnerable, but being vulnerable can be scary. And it's very important to be authentic or to be your true self. I've also learned about resilience, that we all have the ability to recover from our challenges in life. Sometimes they don't happen as fast as we want them to, but we do all have resiliency. When I first started speaking in schools, I really did draw attention to that everything was about awareness, even if it was in regards to bullying or anything else, and that we all have choices. And some of our choices, they can be big and small. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're making a choice because we are human beings and we're always on autopilot. And our choices are, first one is usually, are we going to get out of bed when that alarm rings? Are we going to brush our teeth? What are we going to have for breakfast? What are we going to wear to school? Or what are we going to wear to work? And those are all choices that we're making. We can make the choices of thinking bad about another or looking for the good in another. We can make the choice of being depressed or having happy thoughts. We can think about hating somebody or forgiving somebody. We can find fault in another human being, or we can find something to praise them about, again, to look for the good. We can choose to be a victim, or we can choose to be in charge of our life. We can choose to compliment somebody, or we can choose to put them down. We can act, or we can react. And with choices, there is always consequences. And sometimes the consequences are good, and sometimes they're not so good. But one of the things that we do learn is that it is always a learning experience. And it's okay to have things happen, whether it's good or bad, because we always learn and become stronger. So one of the questions I'd like to ask you to just ponder for a minute is, who is the most important person that you have a conversation with? And it's yourself. Are your thoughts loving and kind, or are you putting yourself down? We have roughly 40,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day, and we need to become aware of our thoughts and change them. Just like a computer gets a virus, our mind gets a virus too. And we need to do a Control, Alt, Delete, or we need to do a reboot. So again, just from going into schools and talking with the youth, they shared with me their thoughts, their feelings and emotions, and some of their actions and their behavior. And some of the thoughts that they had was escape the life at school, change schools, skip school, keep trying to not interact with those people. They would hear the voices of those making fun of them over and over again. They had no idea what to do. They started to believe everything they were called to be true. I failed everything in life, including myself. What are they going to do to me? What are they going to say? Are they going to corner me? And strategically plan my way around the school. And as I think about that, I think about how sad is that sometimes our children go to school and feel unsafe and live in fear that they would have to, strategically plan their way around. It's not a healthy way to go about your day, whether it be at school or even in a work environment. Some of the feelings and emotions are confusion, low self-esteem, embarrassed, scared, worthlessness, sadness, loneliness, harassed, constant anxiety, no longer wanting to live or suicidal, frustration, constant fear, humiliated, depressed. And then some of their actions and behavior was they would try to fit in with the cool, accepted people. They would pick fights. They would change their personality to fit in, the way they spoke, the way they acted, and their weekend activities. And therefore, how could they be happy if they're no longer true to themselves? They were pushed, shoved into a locker, stuff thrown at, punched, shoved down, and fought with a girl at a concert. She walked up to me, poured a drink down my shirt, and then self-isolation. And many of us know that's like right now with COVID-19 and how difficult and lonely that is. Some of the words that they shared with me as to what they were called would be fag, unworthy, stupid, bitch, loser, fat, bastard, dumb, unlovable, and ugly. Words are not the essence of our being. Words are how we communicate. And I really believe we need to learn to separate these and not become attached to words, or we need to reach for better feeling thoughts. I know quite often we ask people, what are you thinking? But I think we also need to ask them, what are you feeling? Or how does that feel when something like this happens? I would like you to know that reaching out for help is a sign of strength. Please find someone you can talk to, whether it be a friend, a family member, a teacher, a counselor, a psychologist, a professional, or your family doctor. And sometimes I want you to know the first person can't help you. Please don't give up. Find somebody else, because sometimes people haven't experienced what you've gone through and may not have a way of reaching out to you. So please do not give up. And I'd like to remind yourself that taking care of your mental health is investing in your future. Everybody deserves to feel happy, healthy, and live life to their fullest potential.